Hey guys, and welcome to the Ban Rants channel, your home for NFL projections, predictions, your occasional poll, and of course, your periodic rant. And in this video, it is finally time, guys. It's finally time to analyze some games week to week in the season. So, I'm going to be doing a few different videos on this. This one, I'm going to break down the first 4 weeks. Little disclaimer, I'm going to be the day before the regular season kickoff, going over all 18 weeks and making any changes from what my original picks were based on if we get any injuries or any updates for any of the 32 teams. But I'm going to go over the first 4 weeks in this video. I'm going to talk about games of the week for the first 4 weeks that are going to be arguably the best to see on paper. But before I do, please make sure to leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment down below, and we'll go ahead and start. So, looking at this week, we're going to start off with the NFC because Tampa Bay kicks off the regular season on Thursday night with the banner drop. So Tampa Bay is probably going to win their opener. I don't see Dallas potentially putting up a strong fight on defense the way you might expect. I also think Tampa's defense will put on a strong fight, and Dak Prescott coming back off his injury against a very strong defense, not really a good recipe. So next game is Eagles and Falcons. Both teams are being either overhyped or underhyped. And it seems weird to say that, right? But I think Jalen Hurts on the Eagles is getting a lot of hype, and I think Matt Ryan's not getting enough hype. I know Atlanta's defense is abysmal. I'm not even going to speculate, but Matt Ryan with Arthur Smith, I think we could be really underestimating what he could do. Now, could that mean the Falcons win the Super Bowl or make the playoffs? Probably not. But it does mean that at the quarterback position, you could see a sleeper quarterback in Matt Ryan that could have a decent year in terms of yards put forward and QBR. And I think Matt Ryan will win in week 1, although that could change depending on how Jalen Hurts adapts to the playbooks in the preseason. We'll take a peek at that down the road. But for now, Atlanta wins. 49ers and Lions, I'm not going to spend too much time on that. That's a win for the Niners. Packers and Saints, this is not the on-paper appeal it once was. I think New Orleans' defense is still strong, but I don't know who their quarterback's going to be. I'm assuming at this point it's Jameis Winston, and Aaron Rodgers has shown he can win in the Superdome against Drew Brees. I'm pretty sure he can do the same against whoever else it will be. And Aaron Rodgers has a lot to prove to Green Bay this year as well. Bears and Rams is a Sunday night game, and this is actually not my game of the week. That I will get to later, but I'm also not going to spend too much time on this. I think the Rams will probably win this game. I trust Matthew Stafford a lot more than I trust Andy Dalton. And speaking of Andy Dalton, the Bengals are hosting the Vikings in the first interconference matchup. It's the Mike Zimmer homecoming, and this one is tricky to call. But I'm going to go ahead and say that Mike Zimmer wins in the jungle. That could change, but I think right now the Vikings have the odds-on favorites to win here. Seahawks and Colts, no Carson Wentz. Yes, Russell Wilson, so that's a win there. Chargers and the football team, very good offense, extremely good defense. This one is tricky, but I like Justin Herbert's chances in the opener. I think he's going to start off really strong, and I think he's going to win. Jets and Panthers, I think Sam Darnold will get a little bit of revenge in that game and win it. Cardinals and Titans, this is a dream match and my game of the week. And this is also the game that I'm going to have the hardest time calling, so I'm going to come back to it. Broncos Giants, Giants will win that one. And I'm not going to spend too much time on a lot of the easier games to call. Jaguars and Texans, disclaimer, if Deshaun Watson is starting day 1, Texans will win this. If he's not, Jaguars will, and I'm assuming he's not at this point. Steelers and Bills, Bills will win that one. Patriots will win at home. Browns and Chiefs, this is a good on-paper game. I don't think it's going to have the appeal people think it will. I think the Chiefs win this one. Ravens at the Raiders. This is a good game as well. This is a very solid Monday night game on paper. I think the Raiders have improved a bit. I think the Ravens have also improved quite a bit. And Lamar Jackson on the road actually plays better than he does at home. I'm going to give it to Lamar in week 1. Now back to my game of the week. I got a lot of backlash from Titans fans from my early predictions for the Titans, and a lot's changed since then. Julio Jones joined the team, and Carson Wentz got injured for the Colts, and that sort of skews the win-losses of the Titans a little bit. And the Titans will be a good team. I've never said otherwise. But I also just think that with Arthur Smith gone, you could see a little bit of a step back from Ryan Tannehill. Will it be horrible? No, but it might be enough to notice. Having said that, I have a hard time picking this game, but I'm going to pick the Cardinals. That could also change, and it's extremely close. This is going to be a fun game to watch, and I'm looking forward to seeing it. So we're going to move on to Week 2 now. In Week 2, I'm going to go through the NFC again because it does start on a Thursday night. Giants and the football team, both teams started off, I guess, in different places, 0-1 and 1-0. And the football team, I think they actually will take this one. I think the Giants and the football team, it's always entertaining to watch. Great rivalry. So expect a slugfest in that game. 49ers, Eagles. This is another game that I think Jalen Hurts is going to have trouble for a different reason. I think unlike the Falcons, where you had an easy defense, you're going to get a top 10 defense with the 49ers. And that's going to be a bit of a culture shock. I think the Niners win this one. Saints and Panthers. On paper, this would have been a great match at one point. Now it's probably an average match. It is a divisional rivalry, much like the Falcons and Buccaneers, which, by the way, Tampa wins. This one's tough. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to New Orleans. I don't think they're going to start off 0-2, but that could also change. Vikings and Cardinals. I think Arizona is going to win their home opener. Same thing with the Packers. Now we can move on to the interconference. Rams and Colts. Still no Carson Wentz at this point. That's not a lock, by the way. I'm just assuming Wentz doesn't play until about October, maybe at the latest, the first week of November. But I don't think they're going to rush him back off the foot injury. I think they also could potentially be sneaky and hold him back a bit so that he doesn't play 75% of the snaps and the Colts can hang on to their first rounder. But that's a different story. Rams will win this game. Dallas will probably win against the Chargers and regroup after a tough loss. And they also get an extra 3 days of rest. So I think Dallas takes advantage of that. Titans at Seattle. Another tough game to call, but I have a hard time seeing the Titans go 0-2. I think they have the fortitude to win on the road. It will not be easy because we know that Seattle is a tough stadium to play in. But I think that's going to be a game that the Titans can win. Bengals and Bears, good defense, decent offense. Another fun game on paper in terms of middle of the pack to below average, slightly teams. Based on the quarterback issues, I think Andy Dalton would love to stick it to the Bengals. I don't think he will. I think that Joe Burrow will win this game. Texans and Browns, again, disclaimer, if Deshaun Watson plays, this will be a flip. But for now, I'm giving it to the Browns. Bills and Dolphins. The Bills owned the Dolphins last year in more ways than one. I think that continues. Broncos and Jaguars. I think the Jaguars are going to win this one. It is their home opener. It's Trevor Lawrence's first home game, and I think that he will win it. Patriots and Jets, that's a no-brainer. Raiders and Steelers. The Raiders, fun fact, the Raiders have actually statistically owned the Steelers with Ben Roethlisberger. I believe Roethlisberger has never beat the Raiders in his career. I'd have to obviously do a fact check on that. But I think the Raiders will bounce back and get a win. And the Chiefs and Ravens, this is obviously game of the week. And this is also tough to call. Now, obviously, it could go either way. The Chiefs, of course, have a much better offense. But the Ravens have a much better defense in terms of on paper. The Chiefs have some playmakers that might have something to say about that. But this is finally a game that I've been wondering why it hasn't been on Sunday night since Mahomes and Lamar Jackson came onto the scene. But it finally is. And I think the Ravens, on a Sunday night, will win this game. I know it sounds crazy, and the Chiefs can easily flip it. But I think if any time you're going to beat the Chiefs and people are going to take you seriously as a threat, it's this year with the team the Ravens have. Week 3, here we go. Panthers and Texans start off the Thursday game. It's really weird to see the Texans go 0-3, but it also happened last year, so it's not out of the question. I think the Panthers can win this one. I think the Bills will easily take the football team. The Browns will get a win. Cardinals and Jaguars, as much as I would love to see Trevor Lawrence go 3-0, and by the way, 2-0 is also not a lock, Cardinals are going to be the ones that go 3-0. Ravens will also go 3-0, a game in Detroit where I think the Lions are going to have a lot of trouble. Saints at New England. Wow. I think New England takes this one. I really do, and I'm going to get into why. I think Tampa at the Rams, this one could also be a loss like it was last year, but I think Tampa's going to win this one. I think the Giants are going to win at home against Atlanta. Seahawks at Vikings. I think the Minnesota Vikings at home will be a bit better against the Seahawks because, remember, Seattle's defense took a little bit of a step back in the end of the year last year, and it could be a little bit before they turn on the gas. I think Russell Wilson will have an easy time out dueling Kirk Cousins, but I don't think Seattle's ready for Dalvin Cook. Packers at Niners. This game is a rematch of the NFC Championship a couple of years ago where the 49ers were victorious, but I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a really hot start. I think he's going to win this game, and I think Dallas is also going to win in Jerry World. We know bad things happen there. So going over here, which, by the way, I kind of skipped over the game of the week, it's probably going to be Bucks and Rams. I mean, on paper, that's the best matchup we have. Obviously, a Brady-Stafford matchup is going to be better this year than it was last year. Chargers and Chiefs, this is also another potential game of the week matchup. Little fun fact, the Chargers took the Chiefs to overtime in the game that they faced them in week 2. And the Chargers were able to win in Arrowhead last year, but you could argue that that was a fluke victory because they rested starters in week 3. And could they do it again? Maybe. I mean, maybe the Chiefs have a little 2-game stumble. But with Patrick Mahomes, I mean, is that reasonable? I think if anything, if they were to lose to the Ravens, they'd be more motivated to bounce back and win, and I think they will. Bengals at Steelers. I believe this is a game the Bengals actually won last year, believe it or not. I don't see that same luck happening this year. Colts and Titans. I still believe, even with Carson Wentz, I think the Titans would win this one. Jets and Broncos. I'm going to say the Broncos win this one. They get their first victory. The Jets go 0-3. Dolphins and Raiders. This one's a little trickier to call. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to the Raiders because I think they're better equipped right now. So now we can go into week 4. And I know people are a bit confused as to the Dolphins and Colts starting off 0-3. And obviously one of them is going to be 0-4, which is even weirder. But we'll get there. Jags and Bengals. This is arguably going to be entertaining because you have the number 1 picks from the last 2 draft classes and Trevor Lawrence and Joe Burrow going at it. And that's a dream match in terms of like a college matchup. But it is a dream match in terms of the youth of the NFL. And I think Burrow wins it. I think Burrow really needs to snap I believe it's at this point to be a 2-game losing streak. And I think he needs to win that one. Texans at the Bills. This is, again, the Bills I think would win this even with Deshaun Watson. Colts at the Dolphins. This one's tricky. I mean, I'm actually going to give the benefit of the doubt to Indianapolis here if Carson Wentz starts. But because I'm not sure if he will, I'm saying the Dolphins win. But of course, I'm going to check on that. Titans, Jets, that's a no-brainer. Ravens, Broncos, no-brainer. Raiders, the Chargers. This one could go either way, honestly. Divisional matchup, these two teams play each other very tough. The Chargers have not been very good at home, and I think the Raiders are going to start off hot. Chiefs at Eagles. This is another no-brainer. Andy Reid has owned the Eagles the 2 times he's faced them as the head coach of the Chiefs. I think he'll win for a 3rd time, especially with Patrick Mahomes facing them for the first time. And they're going to be in very different places team-wise. The Chiefs are light years ahead of the Eagles. Browns and Vikings. Again, part of the Mike Zimmer AFC North revenge tour. This one, I'm going to say by a very slim margin that the Vikings win this one. And that could change, but right now I think this is going to be a really fun game to watch. And you could argue game of the week for Browns and Vikings. It might sound a little strange, but You could argue it, but I'm not going to, because I think we all know what the game of the week is going to be on paper, and it's going to be this one. Steelers and Packers. Packers will win that one. And it might seem weird seeing the Steelers start 1-3, but I mean, they have a really brutal start. Bucks at Patriots. One of them has to go 4-0, and it's not the team you're thinking. It's going to be New England. I think Bill Belichick is going to be ready for Tom Brady. Tom Brady has to lose at some point. It's going to be this week. I can get into more of a why this is going to happen down the road. I don't want to take up a lot more time than I already have. I'm going to just kind of move on here. Bears and Lions, one of them's going to win, and I think it's going to be the Lions that actually pull off an upset. The Panthers and Cowboys, again, we know bad things happen in Jerry World. I think the Cowboys will take this one and have a really decent start, a 3-game winning streak, by the way. Washington and Atlanta, both teams will be 1-2. I think that the Washington football team's offense and Atlanta's defense are right around the same. So it's really just going to come down to whether the offense does enough to get past the defense or whether the defense does enough to stop the offense. I'm going to give the benefit of the doubt to Atlanta, and I think the Saints will pull off a win over the Giants. Seahawks and Niners, I think Seattle bounces back with a win, and I think the Rams will take the win in Week 4. So there you have it. You have 3 4-0 teams by the end of Week 4. You have 5 0-4 teams, which is a bit of a stretch. And again, that could change if Carson Wentz plays earlier. That could also change if Deshaun Watson plays. But that's what I've got right now, and hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.